going out to Houston next month. Hey, have fun. Houston's great. On top of NA Japan, yeah, dude. Oh my god. Razo, I've been thinking about this. So, as you guys all know, Gagadibi 12 happened, right? And I think a lot of people are kind of talking about how Japan is just astronomically better than NA after no top 8 is from a North American player. And it's like really crazy. So speaking as somebody who has gone to Europe and has internationally played, I have like 2 or 3 main reasons as to why I think NA is kind of like behind Japan. And even if they're better than Europe, I don't think they're going to be better than Europe for much longer. I think Europe is actually going to be better than NA in player base, not top players, but player base in like 2025. Yeah, which is like kind of scary. People look at me like, Ikan, what are you saying? Like, why do you think that's true? And the reason I have that as true is because North America doesn't like the game anymore, is the first thing. I think a lot of players don't have fun playing the game. Very few do. Off the top of my head, like AK, Shy J, me, a few other players, but those 3 come to my head as like they love this game, right? And they're down to keep playing it. A lot of other players, they kind of confuse their saltiness with their love for the game. They lose and they don't like losing, and they didn't learn how to deal with losing, so they just don't like the game. And I think that's very hindering to your mentality, because now you don't look at the game as a work of art, you look at the game as a flawed concept. And there are flaws about everything, right? Not everything is perfect, but I think a lot of people are really, really disoriented when they talk about the game. And that leads to them not practicing as hard, and that leads to work ethic, which is the second thing. People don't grind this game as hard. I mean, I just said I haven't played the game in like 4 days, right? Obviously, I have a life, unlike most Smash players. But, you know, a lot of us don't grind as hard as I think we should be. And because in Japan it's easier to grind with public transportation and, you know, those means, it's like easier. I think if you're around such talented players, you're inevitably going to learn something from them and then become a better player. So that's something that I think is super important. And then I think the last thing is that a lot of the Japanese meta and the Japanese players, because they're not playing for money, a lot of their decisions are always oriented towards the game. Let me tell you why. If I tell you go do something for me for $0, you're probably not going to do it. If I tell you do something for me for $5, you're probably going to do it because it's easy money, right? Money disorients, and maybe not disorients, but mainly blocks the ability to learn better, because there's an added incentive to play to win, even if it means foregoing your learning. And I think that's really awful, because now suddenly a lot of players are not playing for the game, they're playing for ulterior motives. Fame, Twitter likes, clips, money, all this stuff that people care about. And it's fine, right? You can care about it, but it kind of hampers your growth. And all 3 of these factors eventually lead to us just not being as good, because the factors are less focused on the game, they're focused on other things. We're focused on our emotions, we're focused on money, we're focused on Twitter, we're focused on all these other things that just don't relate to the game. And now suddenly when you're introducing all these other things to think about, we're inevitably going to be worse. That's how I feel about it. In Europe, they still play for money, which is fine. But they love the game more. Like, they would complain about Steve and Sonic for like 5 minutes and then they go back to playing, right? They don't keep arguing with Twitter idiots about what to think, right? And I think their practice meta, they practice a lot harder. The locals I went to in Europe were 90 to 120 people. The locals in my local area don't get more than 40 people nowadays, right? North Americans don't want to grind like that, because for one reason or another, right? And that was in Paris, which also had pretty good public transportation. Like, I was able to take the train to go to a couple locals, right? So yeah, like, these things are very, very critical. And that was like a long ramble, but that's how I feel about it.